right, we're back. First, welcome back. I'm trying to get everything set up. I think I fixed the problem, hopefully, but we'll see. We need to actually have a foreplay here. I mean, something. I'm getting horny. Oh, God. Oh, God. All right, let me pop the chat out here. Pause that. All right, let me see. Live. Pop out. Get rid of that. Let's see. I think that's everything. I don't know. Oh, let me share a link to it in the thing. In the Discord. Okay. All right. I think that's got it. So we'll go back into it here. So from the information that we've collected over the last couple of weeks here from XDefiant, they've delayed the release of the game. It's rumored to be released in Q1, Q2 of 2024. And then Mark Rubin came out and basically said that there was some issues with the anti-cheat for the game, that they were trying to work on the netcode improvements and also with their party functionality, which their party functionality was an issue whenever I was watching people play it, things like that. So with that being said, Dirt, what is your feelings as a whole? Because I haven't tried the beta out, and I don't think any of us have tried the beta, but like, with these delayed things that are happening, and then Mark Rubin coming out giving this update, and then the Q1 Q2 of 2024 for XDefiant, what do you feel like that means for XDefiant?
Gonna lose all its hype.
Think so?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like the transparency, but yeah, they've kind of hyped it to a point to where this is kind of a failure.
Well, then they purposely fucked up the updates so they wouldn't get pushed.
Yes.
Come on.
Yeah. So whenever they were pushing the certification processes to console, it failed. The first certification pass that Microsoft and Sony and other, those are the only two consoles it's being pushed to, but it failed those, and they knew that it was going to fail when they pushed it to it. And that delayed, one of the last, I think it was the last test that actually happened. Either that or it delayed the actual release of the game because it was supposed to release in summer, and it never happened, right? And that's when we got the update about the game being delayed. Corey, do you feel like that this is a targeted delay specifically because of Call of Duty?
Yeah. Because maybe they haven't been, but a lot of people have been pushing it as the COD killer.
Right.
And then if it releases at the same time COD does and doesn't kill it, it's dead for good.
Right.
I think it's very strangely timed at the very least.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. And with these, delays and failures of certification, it's good that they're attempting to update their netcode, fix a lot of the issues or the issues that are currently happening, with the game and the servers and things like that. Like that's very much needed. But do you feel that this is something that is just as an excuse, as a reason why to delay the game as a whole, Garbo?
Because it's so that way they don't have to compete with COD. So when the February rolls around and everything, they don't have COD to deal with, because COD likes to come around in fall. So usually it's this time of month. So either this month or next month, COD's going to release. They didn't want to deal with that. So they rather deal with it in 2024 when they don't have to deal with like a shooter game or the such. Because I don't think there's any shooter games coming out in February of spring, right?
Not that
would make sense. Is they look out for a time where no competitors are releasing near them, so they're the only new game to try.
And so they got the hype.
Yeah,
there will be 25 FPS games in 2024
Jesus.
coming out. So
Okay,
I'm sure they're one of them.
Yeah, for sure, right? But
But
But good Lord,
yeah.
But yeah.
So I think that the strategy behind their release schedule originally being in the summertime was like, we want to release the game. We want to get it out there so people could be playing it. That way, when the new COD came out, it didn't live up to expectations, which, let's be honest, it never lives up to expectations of the community. The COD doesn't. And people could easily hop back onto X-Defiant because it's already installed. They've already got battle pass progress and skins and weapons and all that kind of stuff unlocked. But now with them transitioning into like a winter/spring release in Q1, Q2 of 2024, they're going to try to capitalize on that COD fatigue. But my main question to everybody here is like, is there going to be COD fatigue if the COD game that is being released is awful? I mean,
you're gonna have your core people that are gonna play that game no matter what.
every night.
Yeah.
Every night. And I think that they will hit fatigue around that time. I think everyone who does play that game hits a certain amount of fatigue, man.
Yeah.
After 5 or 6 nights of doing the multiplayer experience, I'm like, I need to play something else.
Yeah, right. And I would say that COD fatigue normally sets in about 3 to 4 months after release is when people are like, okay, I've played this game to death. I've unlocked all the camos and done all
February is about the perfect time for it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So with that being said, do you guys feel like X-Defiant will be the definitive COD killer?
No. Still no.
No.
Do you think that it'll have
$300 million to spend?
Right.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that there will be some type of moderate success that will come with X-Defiant? Like, do you think it'll be a staple of free-to-play games?
It'll be as popular as any other free-to-play game, probably.
Right.
There's a few though that's going to be hard to beat. Like there's Fortnite, Apex, and what's that one that Doc and them play? Valorant?
Yeah,
what it's called. Yeah,
Yeah.
Those are like the top 3, I think, right now.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to break into that with a brand new IP.
It really is, man.
So we'll see. And who knows? Like the campaign for COD has dropped, but I'm not 100% certain if the multiplayer for it has dropped. And with the early access that people had to the COD campaign or the COD multiplayer, they could really go in there and like do something crazy with it. Like they could go in there and revamp a lot of issues and a lot of systems, get things flowing the way that they need to be flowing. And COD could come out and just like be 2019 COD all over again, where everybody was coming back into the game. It's highly unlikely that that'll happen, but like trying to be a direct competitor with that is kind of already putting a couple of nails in that coffin, right?
You're already on a downhill slope.
Yeah, exactly. So, good luck to them, but I don't know.
purposely making yourself the underdog, I don't know. That's the best move.
Yeah, and I mean, with a studio like Ubisoft, you know, it's not like that this is some no-name company that's releasing this. This is Ubisoft that has some incredible properties under their belt. And it's smart that they're pulling from those properties and incorporating those into X Defiant. That's genius level idea, but trying to go head to head with something of that magnitude, you know what I'm saying? It's rough. It is very rough.
Looks like November the 10th.
It's when the multiplayer's dropping?
Yeah, 9th in some places, 10th.
Okay.
Day one, dropping open world zombies. Ooh.
That could be interesting. We'll see. We'll see that. We'll peep that and see what's happening with it.
$70.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Right. So X Defiant has a hill to climb, and good luck to them for climbing it, because it's going to take a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of attention to detail to capture that audience's imagination.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I just stopped that. It might crash everything again. I don't know. We'll see. I just started it back up. Are we still good?
Looks like it.
Okay. All right. Thank goodness. All right. Speaking of free to play games here, we finally get cross progression for Apex Legends. So it's confirmed, right? And they're still rolling it out. But at long last, cross progression is finally coming to Apex Legends. After years and years of waiting, players who play across multiple platforms will now have their accounts merged. Here's how cross progression works in Apex Legends. Cross progression has been the most requested feature by far in Apex Legends for the better part of 3 years. While crossplay was finally added in 2020, it took some time for cross progression functionality to follow. This, Respawn says, was because the game was never created with cross progression in mind, and so retrofitting it was not an easy task. However, given the fervor from the community about it, they knew it had to be done one way or another. As of Season 19, any Apex player who logs in and has multiple accounts will be able to, or rather forced, to merge their accounts into one single account, regardless of which platform they are on. So cross progression merges accounts in Apex Legends. So Respawn explains that cross progression will be mandatory and there is no decisions for players to make. After receiving an in-game prompt, all your existing accounts on each platform will be merged. The account with the highest level will be treated as the quote-unquote master account, and the others simply ceasing to exist. However, don't panic. Your progression, like badges and cosmetics, should be combined, and you will receive information about the total items being transferred. This means after this is complete, you will be playing on the same account regardless of platform, so PC, Xbox, PlayStation, and Switch will all be linked together. This is a huge W. For a game that has been out as long and has been as popular as Apex has, it's definitely mind-boggling that they didn't launch with the idea of cross-progression as a thing. But I think that whenever they released Apex, I don't think that they were anticipating it to be quite as popular as it has become over the years. I mean, when it first dropped, there was some definite hype and things about the game, but it's been a game that has continued to pick up momentum. And it's very rare that a game releases and is able to pick up momentum like that. But what I do want to ask, and this is for Corey and Garbo, whichever one or both, you guys recently upgraded from PS4 to PS5. You guys played on PS4 and are currently playing on PS5. Did your account stuff transfer over to the new systems? Was it tied to your PlayStation Network IDs, or is it something that is going to merge with everybody else?
It was tied to the PSN stuff.
PSN,
Yeah, I still have all achievements and playtime on everything the PS4.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
at least that they had the foresight to do something like that and tie it strictly to your PlayStation network. And I'm assuming that Xbox functioned very much the same way. Whenever people upgraded to the newer generation Xboxes, they were able to, pull their account information and statistics, which is great. I'm glad that that existed, because could you imagine downloading Apex on your PS5 and not having any of your stuff?
It would suck.
I'd be pissed.
Yeah.
I mean, it does suck whenever you spend all this money on cosmetics and things like that and you can't access or equip any of it. So I can imagine that a lot of players would probably be a little bit hesitant to return to the game whenever they lost access to all of that stuff. So,
And it's got Switch support.
which is crazy. Wow. Yeah. Which is insane. Right. And I think that, Corey, your brother's played on Switch, right?
He only plays on Switch now. Yeah.
So, and what has he said about the performance of Switch for Apex?
It runs fine. He hasn't had any issues with it. He's like, every now and then there'll be some lag during, like, if you end up in like a 4 or 5 team gun battle and people are dropping ults left and right.
Yeah.
But other than that, he's got better stats than I do and everything.
That's wild. It's crazy how, but that goes to show you that companies that really want to prioritize what fans want, they will go to the most extreme lengths possible to make sure that the fans have access to it, whether it be cross-play, cross-progression, or the ability to play on what some people consider an inferior hardware. So it really shows the dedication that that Respawn has specifically for Apex Legends, and hats off to them.
Respawn, I think, does a great job of that, and I've said it before, and I'll keep saying it. It's my favorite battle royale right now, and I think it's going to hold that title for a while.
It'll definitely take a lot to dethrone that. I mean, and it seems like that they actively listen to their player base. I mean, when things seem to be a little bit out of whack, they seem to take the time to get in there and really look at the nuts and bolts of the situation and do the things that need to be done in order to make it a fun and fair experience for everyone involved.
It seems like a team of developers that enjoys their job and loves their fans.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can't ask for more than that in the gaming world.
Exactly. And they have some incredible cosmetics to boot.
Dude, just about every battle pass or event that they start doing, man, there's always some stuff in there. It's like, I would spend real money to buy that cosmetic.
Right. And now with games slowly starting to migrate more and more to a free-to-play, did it crash again?
No.
Oh, okay. No. Okay. Sorry, I saw the bullseye and I was like, is this the sign? What was I saying? But with, what was I saying?
Other games are focused on free to play.
Okay, yeah. So with other games focusing more and more on like free to play and battle passes and things like that, your cosmetics are going to be the main way that revenue is made for these games, and having top tier cosmetics is going to be, the thing that drives the development and the continued development of that. And it sucks whenever you see game studios, developers that just kind of fully abandon releasing content into the game, except for an occasional battle pass or event pass that's released every so often. It is what it is.
Yeah. I don't mind the battle pass model, man. It kind of lets me pick and choose what I want to spend money on. If there's a battle pass I don't particularly like, I don't have to buy it. And if there's one that I really do like, then I will buy it. Right.
And I think that this opens up just a little bit to a more broad topic. It's like, we have the ability in 2023 to directly support the developers by spending our money on things in game. We can buy cosmetic packs, we can buy battle passes. That's our way of supporting them. Back in the day, you spend $60 on a new game, and then you might occasionally get some DLC that you can throw at it if it's a game that you really enjoyed. But now it's kind of like a crowdfunding model. You have the ability to directly influence that game. And whenever people are directly influencing that game, and also giving legitimate, valid feedback, and certain development studios don't want to listen to that or have anything to do with that, then it really is like a giant middle finger to their players when something is broken and purposefully broken and stays broken for a very long time to create this artificial meta. So I think that, people are voting with their dollars more so now, and they have the ability to vote with their dollars more so now than they have in the past. And that's why you see a lot of games get released, whether they're free to play or not, and they fail miserably because the developers aren't actively listening to their player base. So, but yeah, I think that they were rolling out this cross progression thing to certain accounts. I haven't tried to log into it with Steam because I currently have it on EA, but I do want to pull my progression over to Steam or Epic, which if it's available on Epic, I'm going to get it on there. But that way that I can have access to everything that I currently have, and I don't have to go through this excruciating EA launcher process of getting the game to launch. It is a nightmare. EA, do better, so. But yeah, good on them. Hats off to Respawn and also Apex Legends for putting the time, work, and effort into bringing exactly what their player base wanted. It's amazing. Good on them.
Yeah.
Skirt.
All right, I'm stopping that one. All right, so let me get rid of that. Okay. So speaking of free-to-play games, there is a free-to-play game that was released recently, and we're going to give a couple of thoughts about it. But first, we're going to touch on this article, the finals. So the finals catches fire early as player count contends with COD, Apex, and more. So massively hyped first-person shooter, the finals is doing numbers on the Steam charts. Prior to its full release, it has trounced a number of FPS rivals and is chasing one of the year's biggest games. Embark Studios' team-based FPS The Finals is enjoying a successful PC playtest. It's already rocketed to a massive 264,000 peak player count, a staggering figure for pre-release. The game has gotten shout-outs from Dr. Disrespect, but also gotten some flack for its questionable use of AI voice work. Despite some minor controversy, it's been maintaining some solid stats during its playtest. Recent data from Steam showed the finals eclipsing Call of Duty, PUBG, and Apex Legends in concurrent players. Currently is sitting at number 4 in the charts. It has come dangerously close to surpassing Baldur's Gate 3. Earlier in the day, the finals achieved a total of 132,000 active players, beating out Apex Legends by more than 20,000. The similarity between the two games has fueled comparisons. If the finals maintains its popularity, it may become a genuine contender in a massive market. Some players are already calling it, quote, the next big FPS. So on the heels of this, there are some negatives, of course, that comes with this. The finals is the FPS of the moment, but it just started beta and is already infested with cheaters. So the finals, of course, is the hottest new FPS in town, but cheaters are overshadowing its big moment. If you've not yet come across it, the finals is a free-to-play shooter where players battle it out as contestants of a virtual combat game show. Here, spectacle is almost as important as staying alive, as you'll compete for fame and sponsorship opportunities as you fight for your life. An open beta is currently underway, and it's proven very popular with players. At the time of writing, it's at number 5 in Steam's most played chart and has managed to rack up an impressive 267,000 concurrent players at peak on Valve's platform. Still, many have not found this FPS to be a blast, not because of its gameplay, but rather the staggering number of players who refuse to play by the rules. The Anti-Cheat Police Department, which I'm definitely going to follow on Twitter, a community group that specializes in gathering intelligence on cheats to detect and disrupt cheating vendors, posted a tweet earlier this week claiming that the finals has, quote, already been targeted by a huge P2C vendors. It's not long until it's riddled with cheaters. It adds, I hope the devs at the finals have thought about an anti-cheat measure when building this game, or it's just going to be another title ruined by cheaters. Since then, the final subreddit has also been awash with players reporting instances of cheating. Yesterday, I was having a blast on this beta. Best fun I've had on a free-to-play... Nope. Best fun I've had on a first-person shooter in a long time. User Roth Dog writes, today every other game was a blatant cheater in it. This game will die very quickly if the devs don't take this seriously. Players allege that the cheating is linked to Chinese profiles, and many are calling on developer Embark Studios to introduce a region lock to tackle the issue. It's to the point I quit playing entirely. User Society Asunder says, almost half of the games I went in had cheaters. It's unbearable, and we need to region lock them. So the finals current beta runs until November the 5th on PS5, Xbox Series X, and PC. The game's expected to arrive before the year is out, though so far no release date has been set. On the heels of this, I also wanted to target exactly who Embark Studios is and the company that is currently behind the finals, which is Nexon. And this is the most recent games that Nexon has worked on and released. And as you can see here, the first Descendant, which had playtests earlier this year, that seemed to get some pretty good traction. Veiled Experts, Arc Raiders, which is part of Embark Studios, and the finals, which is also part of Embark Studios. Embark Studios is a newer game studio, and the finals is the first thing that they have recently released. So what I want to hit on first here is the fact that whenever I installed the finals and launched it, it uses Easy Anti-Cheat. So Easy Anti-Cheat is the anti-cheat for the finals. So they do have an anti-cheat. It's just not being updated quickly enough. Now, I've done a deep dive, of course, on how Easy Anti-Cheat works, but just to give a little bit of a update to it, the studios have to manually update Easy Anti-Cheat every time they release an update, or they may be able to push it to the live game, not 100% certain, in order to flag certain things that are allowing people to cheat in the game. That's why, with Fortnite, they can push updates to the game while it's live. Epic can push changes and fixes into the game. So if there's something that's broken in the game where a number or a digit was off on something, they can actively disable it while the game is live and not have to worry about it. Not sure if Easy Anti-Cheat allows them to do the same thing, but Easy Anti-Cheat is Epic's version of anti-cheat. Valve has Valve Anti-Cheat, and then, COD has whatever their anti-cheat that they developed was.
Ricochet.
Yeah, Ricochet.
So they do have an anti-cheat, but where I think two things are happening here. First of all, the game just released. They haven't had but maybe 2 updates for the game since it's been in this beta period, and there's no way that they can actively upload enough of the flags to stop these cheaters fast enough. It's going to take a little bit of longevity in order to stop them. Unfortunately, that's the current state of how video games are. The cheaters are going to develop cheats much faster than the studio is going to be able to implement flags to stop them, at least at start, until they can get that core group of cheats under control, and then they can maintain it from there. So whenever you see a giant spike in cheaters, Rogue Company currently, it's because they haven't pushed an update to the game in a while, and they haven't updated their Easy Anti-Cheat. So that's currently what's happening with that. Second of all, there's also other ways to cheat within video games that's completely undetectable. And those people are going to be able to skirt by with that much longer than people that are actively using blatant cheats such as aimbot, wall hacks, and things like that. So you're never going to eliminate it. Is it going to drive the player base down for the game? Absolutely. But luckily it's in a beta state at the moment. So with that being said, Corey, we played the game the other night. I don't think that we encountered anybody that was currently cheating, but with a vertical-based, movement-based shooter like the finals, do you think that the cheating would be much more impactful to the game as a whole compared to other games like COD or Apex or things like that?
I think it'd be as impactful. I don't know, man. It's some quick gameplay. It was really fun. The mechanics were really cool. But if you're not hitting your shots, especially like going against 2 or 3 people at once, you're just gonna die fast. And if someone's hitting all of their shots all of the time, they're gonna just
Rip you apart.
dominate that map.
Yes.
They're gonna have all the vaults unlocked. They're gonna have all the coins from you dying. Like
The
it's
pacing.
it would
Yeah.
it will kill that game very quickly because like you said, the pacing is wild and it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
But if I got in there and died every time I rounded a corner, I wouldn't fire it up again.
Right.
What makes it so hard for controller players is, I don't know if you said you played Griffin. Did you have to do the wheel thing that I was telling you about the other night?
No, I mean, it was bound to different keys, and I was able to go in there and
Okay.
rebind it. So no.
Yeah,
So
it's
for
rough
controller-
to switch to your frag grenade or something. You have to do a wheel in the middle of combat.
Mm-hmm. You have to
And it's
memorize
wild.
where you will put your loadouts, like your things. So like when you build your loadout, yeah, wherever you put your stuff, you pretty much have to like memorize it because you gotta press the button, open the wheel, swing your joystick to wherever you want it to, and then you gotta swing it all back when you're done using that utility. Like all your gadgets and your primary weapon is all on that wheel. And for real, like you literally have to press it in a very fast time manner. Like I played some today, and like just repetitively like spending hours doing it, you get better at it. But again, when you're going up against a mouse and keyboard that's just pressing the key, it's kind of hard to go against that. You know what I mean? Because they can just press what they want, throw it, and then press the other key to go back to their primary. Where we have to memorize where we put our shit every single time.
It
Yeah.
was my biggest issue with the gameplay was the fact that I had to do that to switch to like a flashbang or whatever it was that I wanted.
Yep. And then you have to immediately swap back to your primary weapon so you can use your primary weapon, or you'll be stuck in flashbangs.
Mm-hmm.
So I will comment on this real quick because I'm not 100% a fan of how the finals gadgets were laid out, because even with us, I could rebind them. So, but you have to rebind the same thing for each class onto that same key. So if I rebind the incendiary grenade for the medium class onto F, then I have to go into the light class and then move the incendiary grenade to the same slot that I have set up for the incendiary, so that whenever I press the F key, then it actually equips the item and allows me to throw it. There's no quick cast because you have to actively go to that piece of equipment and then you're holding it in your hand and you have to actively throw it, so
Yep. Yeah.
with this being a beta game, with this being a cross-play game right out of the gate, and with a good majority, I wouldn't say a good majority, but we'll say at this time, a 50-50 split of mouse and keyboard / controller players, the controls other than the gadgets, felt fine. On controls other than the gadgets, from what you guys are saying, felt fine. Maybe that is going to be a focus point for them moving forward on trying to streamline it. Because I'll be honest with you, I don't need access to 4 gadgets. I would much rather have access to a pistol and 1 or 2 gadgets as opposed to having access to 4 gadgets, an ability, and all this other stuff. That's
I
just
agree.
me. So we played it last night for a little while. I tried to get a little bit of footage of it, but unfortunately it was not allowing me to screen cap it for whatever reason. I know Garbo tried to stream it and it wouldn't let him stream it for some reason. So there's something funky going on there. But overall, first impressions, is this something that you guys would actively pick up and play on a very consistent basis? Dirt.
No, I don't know about all the time. I mean, I did have a good time once I kind of figured out where everything was at and how to play. What was the mode? Bank it?
Yeah, bank it. Yeah.
Like that, but fuck sledgehammers.
Dude, the tanks
you know what
are
I'm saying?
ridiculous.
Yeah.
They are
Fuck the
ridiculous right
sledgehammers.
now. Yeah.
I didn't like the UI, like the menu had everything's just spread out. The gun, you gotta go here and buy a gun and upgrade it here, and then you gotta go change the character. It's like, okay, that's weird.
Yeah.
But it was fun. It was different.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So Garbo, I know that, they did pull some comparisons here with it with it actually beating Apex Legends out. And I felt a very similar Apex vibe in how the movement actually worked and how some of the abilities and things like that work. Would this replace Apex for you specifically, or is this something that may be fun to drop in occasionally?
Wow, that's pretty good. I really enjoyed it, honestly. I've been enjoying the beta, playing it personally. It was very fresh. I do like the pacing. And to be fair, the matches are not really long. They're like, I don't know, for like 10 minutes, depending on how fast the team rolls. Would I say it permanently replaces Apex? No. Would I play it as consistently as Apex? Yeah, I could see myself doing that. If they clean up some things, like Dirt made a very good point out. Like the customization and everything is very like out in the open. It's like janky in ways.
Mm-hmm.
And then
I
I don't know.
forgot
There's
too.
always
Sorry, magazine size? Whoa, come on.
Well,
and no secondary?
yeah.
no secondary. It's
No pistol?
one gun or
Come on.
done. That's what the third gadget's for.
Yeah, but I would rather just slot that out and put a pistol,
I hear you. I hear you.
I would much rather do that.
Yeah. When you
Yeah.
get them a bullet, just hit them with the foam. What you call it?
The spray foam?
Yeah.
It's what it looks like. It's spray
It's
foam,
just like
right?
it.
So, first impressions, 1 to 10 on this scale, Corey, what would you give it?
I give it a solid 6.
That's respectable.
The gameplay was paced nicely. The gunfights weren't. I mean, they weren't great, but they're not terrible either. There's a lot of chaos. That's my biggest issue. There's a lot going on with walls and floors busting through.
It reminds me of Bad Company.
Yeah, right.
Sort of, yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. It definitely is not going to kill. Like, I'm not going to play this instead of any other game, but if it's something that you guys decide you want to play, I would be more than happy to load it up and play with you.
Right. Dirt, out of 10, where are you feeling on it?
Well, I was going to go around a 6.5, so a 6 is.
Respectable.
I respect it,
Yeah, respectable. Garbo, I know that we haven't had the privilege to play with you yet, but you have been playing it quite a bit. So where are you going to land this puppy at?
It's gonna be higher than them. I'm gonna go for it. I'm going for an 8, and the reason why is I did really enjoy like how fresh it was. It's very fresh, and I love the chaos. I mean, it makes it more like, oh shit, this is happening. Either I need to figure something out or get out. One or the other type scenarios. And I really enjoyed that. I love that you can kind of destroy everything to get to the thing or make the thing come down to you. Like if you're under it, like there's just a lot of creativity there. I feel like if they can work out the edges, it could be a real solid game. So I'm going to say 8.
So for me personally, if they smooth the UI out a little bit and fix some of the issues with how the gadgets and things are on your controller or on your keyboard, things like that, it would definitely bank a little bit higher. The one thing that is holding it back from getting a higher score, in my opinion, is the fact that it's only teams of 3. So you're going in with 4 teams of 3. We could do 3 teams of 4 and it would net out to the same people. I understand that there's abilities and things and they've all been balanced around teams of 3, but this is kind of like the Apex thing all over again. It's like when you have a core, game design and multiplayer design hasn't really changed all that much. You either have 4-player matches or you have 6-player matches, and then occasionally you'll have like a big team battle where it's like 12 versus 12 or 24 versus 24, whatever. But normally the core of it is 4v4 or 6v6. Whenever you have a game like this come out that's doing something different, it's not doing anything new, but it's doing something definitely different and something that is definitely fun, the chances of me playing it goes from like a 10 out of 10 because of the fun that I did have with it. And the balance of the game overall as a whole is phenomenal. Drops it down to about a 7, maybe a 6.5 for me. Just on that one factor alone, I could get used to the gadget stuff and rebind everything and really get in there and figure that out. But if there's 4 of us that are playing, it's just not going to be in rotation.
Right.
And that to me is the biggest drawback for the game. If they were able
Maybe
to
they'll
rule,
have a mode.
if they were,
Never know.
yeah,
That could be part of the feedback, that they get is like, hey, we would like a 4v4 mode,
yeah.
Less sledgehammers.
And to be
Dude,
fair,
They gotta nerf that.
the bigger the game mode where you are fighting over the one cube and you're trying to deposit the cube, I can't remember the name of it, but the maps on there are so
or cash out.
Yeah, cash out.
Yeah.
The size of the maps are so large that it could kind of warrant itself to a 4v4v4, and then you would have and limit the teams, right? Make it to where you can only have one heavy, or you can only have one small. Like they could go in there and put strict stipulations on everything as a whole and be like, look, you can't run this, you can only have maybe one medium that has access to the healing beam, but you can run 2 smalls or 2 heavies or something like that. And they could find a way to balance that out, and they could go in there and tweak a couple of numbers and make that work. Hopefully that they'll make something like that happen, or just make, one of the game modes 4v4, and that would absolutely pique my interest in playing the game. Because like I said, balance and movement and all of that stuff overall was incredibly fun and very fast paced. And it really scratched that itch of like an old school Unreal Tournament, arena shooter.
Mm-hmm.
Runs great.
I don't know
Yes.
this completely.
It runs
balanced.
really good.
Yeah.
What would you think would not be balanced, or what in your opinion isn't?
There's just a couple things that I've read into that like I thought were busted. Sledgehammer for one. Like you can get
There
2
was an
taps with a
issue with-
sledgehammer. This guy literally can walk up to you and just pop pop and you're dead. Like,
Well, I think the
faced
issue with that
many times
was a homeboy with like a sledgehammer and then a medium behind him with the healing ray,
Yeah.
just
Heal him.
completely
Yeah.
healing him. That's a little OP, dude.
Well, there's also there's a double pump shotgun. I believe it's on the it's either on the light class or it's on the medium class.
I think
Either
it's
way,
a lot.
it's a one hit down.
It
If you
is.
shoot him in the head, it is one shot
So
immediately.
it's
So, like if somebody just sneaks up on you and you don't see it happening, you're too busy distracted or something, they can just pop and you're gone. Like you don't even acknowledge it happening. You're just dead. There was also a case where I ran into a team that was running a double turret strat, and I couldn't even touch the point. I
Yeah,
couldn't even put the thing in the bang. I couldn't even get to it, dude. It was a nightmare.
yeah.
But the dubs felt good.
Yeah, they did.
When
Yeah.
you got them. It was like, so fast paced and it's hurry.
Well, I
hurry.
have to ask, how many did y'all win?
I mean,
We won 3 or 4
Yeah.
out of like
it was-
7.
I only got 2 on me.
I mean,
And
we
those
were
solo queuings.
when
Oh,
Corey got offline, we actually had some decent randos too. They
yeah, the randos were reviving and
carrying. Like,
yeah. I do like how
also
the
feel oh, go ahead.
I like how there's a revive mechanic that's there. If you don't want to use it, you don't really have to. The defibrillator is really cool. Like there's a lot of really cool things and a lot of really cool ideas that they're doing in there. And I appreciate it for what it is. It is a fun, crazy, like just being able to like do stupid stuff, like put those bounce pads at the tops of staircases and launch people.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
That was fun, yeah. When we were guarding that room and we put one on each door, and every time someone came in, they would just jump across the room and fuck them up.
Yeah. It's little things, and the environment being fully destructive
man.
and how things
That is
interact. Like the spray foam is like a gigantic piece of napalm you can throw in there.
Goo
And,
grenade?
Yeah.
Yeah, that good grenade.
so I think overall, like if they can flesh out some of these inconsistencies and possibly look at tuning it up to a 4v4, I think it would be definitely something that I would play more so than often,
Yeah.
Not a bad beta.
No, not at
I
all.
enjoyed it. I enjoyed it enough that I kept playing it, I think
Yeah.
today's the last day too, so.
Yeah.
Well,
So it gets,
Well.
it'll be never be back.
Yeah.
so I'm going to go ahead and say it. The finals gets a 4-play W, So get out there and try it out if you can.
Can't live with them. Can't live without them.
Okay, back on bar, whatever.
All right, I'm going to end that. And we're going to get into the final topic here, which is going to be this Microsoft Activision
Surprised it
Blizzard
wasn't
thing.
finals.
Well, I mean,
Yeah. It'll be 2 on the nose.
Yeah, that's a little.
Y'all know we roll the clock back tonight.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's technically 10:50 for me. So,
Technically.
yeah. So for the main topic for foreplay here, we do have an article, and I actually pulled this from Kotaku, and this is going to be the major talking point here. Microsoft finally closes the massive Activision Blizzard deal, making Call of Duty officially part of Xbox now. So 21 months after it was announced, the $69 billion deal is finally complete. So the video game industry just got a lot smaller. The long and winding saga of Microsoft's $69 billion purchase of Activision Blizzard has finally come to a close, with the companies announcing the completed merger today following one last green light from regulators in the UK. Call of Duty is now part of Xbox, and the tech giant has now surpassed Sony as the second biggest gaming company in the world. As gaming's big march toward corporate consolidation continues. In addition to the blockbuster military shooter, Activision Blizzard produces Overwatch 2, Diablo 4, and World of Warcraft. The acquisition will provide a raft of big games for Microsoft's growing Xbox Game Pass subscription service, as well as make it a massive player on mobile with some of the biggest smartphone games in the world in Candy Crush and Call of Duty Mobile. Microsoft signed a 10-year deal to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation, but has reserved the right to make other Activision Blizzard franchises exclusive to its Xbox platforms going forward. The deal will also effectively expand Microsoft's gaming business by roughly 10,000 employees. It's not yet clear how many of them will remain, either due to redundancy layoffs or attrition of senior talent and executive level staff. Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick wrote in an email to staff today that he will stay on at the company, reporting to Microsoft Games CEO Phil Spencer through the end of 2023. Microsoft agreed to union neutrality with the Communication Workers of America last year, and starting 60 days from now, Activision Blizzard employees will be able to get recognition of a union with majority support through a simple card check. Prior to joining Microsoft, the company had fought unionization efforts and received a number of labor complaints filed with the National Labor Relations Board. Microsoft and Activision Blizzard first announced the groundbreaking merger back in January of 2022. Filings with the Securities and Exchange Commission revealed that Spencer approached Kotick about the deal after the publisher's stock price collapsed following major game delays and continued reports of past sexual harassment and misconduct by some of its employees. July the 20th, 2021 lawsuit by the California Civil Rights Department alleged widespread sexual harassment and discrimination within Activision Blizzard. Then a bombshell Wall Street Journal report on November the 17th of 21 claimed that Kotick was aware of multiple past sexual misconduct lawsuits against the company, but failed to report them to its board of directors. Activision has called the report misleading and is currently fighting the Civil Rights Department's lawsuit in court. However, a day after the Wall Street Journal's report was published, Spencer emailed staff within Microsoft that he was evaluating all aspects of Xbox's relationship with Activision Blizzard. The next day, he approached Kotick about buying the embattled company. Those talks eventually culminated into a deal to buy the Call of Duty publisher for a $95 a share, 45% premium over what the company was worth following the sexual misconduct reports and game production delays. Wall Street Journal and Bloomberg both reported at the time that Kotick was expected to resign after the deal closed, allowing him a graceful exit from the company he spent 30 years leading, while the California lawsuit is still ongoing. Kotick also stands to make nearly $400 million from the sale via his stock holdings, over 20 times the $18 million settlement Activision Blizzard paid to the Equal Employment and Opportunity Commission over sexual discrimination allegations last year. Microsoft and Microsoft and Activision Blizzard had originally planned to close the deal by last July, but battles with regulators in the UK and US almost killed it off. The Federal Trade Commission attempted to block the merger in federal court over the summer, leading to a week-long trial that ended up revealing an unprecedented amount of behind-the-scenes info about Xbox, Sony, and other gaming companies, including leaked plans for upcoming consoles and private emails between top brass. The FTC's legal case ultimately failed, however, paving the way for Microsoft to address remaining reservations with the UK's Competition and Markets Authority. As part of a reworked plan to win approval, Microsoft agreed to sell cloud gaming rights for Activision Blizzard games in the UK to Assassin's Creed publisher Ubisoft, preventing it from being able to withhold streaming licenses for its hits like Call of Duty and Overwatch from competitors like Sony. While Microsoft ultimately prevailed with regulators, the unexpected level of scrutiny resulted in a number of compromises and an unusual level of transparency that both companies may not have been counting on when the deal was first announced. So before we go further with this, we are going to list here every franchise that Microsoft owns after buying Activision. And I'm going to hit the big ones here. Call of Duty, Crash Bandicoot, Diablo, Guitar Hero, Gun, Hearthstone, Heretic, Heroes of the Storm, Hexen, King's Quest, The Lost Vikings, Overwatch, Pitfall, Prototype, SWAT, Singularity, Skylanders, Soldier of Fortune, Space Quest, Spyro, StarCraft, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, True Crime, Warcraft, World of Warcraft, and Zork. All of those are from Activision Blizzard. We have a lot of King, which is the mobile games. So there's a whole slew of those. And then, of course, from Bethesda, you have Dishonored, Doom, Deathloop, Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Hi-Fi Rush, Prey, Quake, Rage, Starfield, The Evil Within, Wolfenstein. And then, of course, Xbox Microsoft owns Age of Empires, Age of Mythology, Banjo-Kazooie, Battletoads, Conquer, Crackdown, Crimson Skies, Fable, Gears of War, Forza, Halo, Killer Instinct, Minecraft, Perfect Dark, Pillars of Eternity, Psychonauts, State of Decay, Zoo Tycoon, Viva Pinata, and the list goes on and on there. So effectively, Microsoft has cornered the market here, and I think this is going to put them dangerously close to where Disney currently resides, where they can't acquire any more projects or properties.
When do we label them as a monopoly? Microsoft has acquired over 225 companies.
Oh, God.
So here's what I'm not mad at, because kind of like Disney, Sony's going to have to
step
up.
Yeah.
And they did with Disney.
Yeah.
They made them.
Yeah.
It's going to happen here. They're going to have to. They're going to have to come to the table.
Yes.
There's no option.
Yeah. So on the heels of this, we also have a Microsoft Nintendo deal that happened, I think, a year or two ago at this point, where there was talks of getting the Xbox Game Pass on Nintendo consoles by allowing Nintendo to actively use Microsoft servers to conduct business, multiplayer experiences, et cetera, et cetera. So with that being said, they've already got Nintendo on board, at least to some degree there. A lot of people are looking at this as a negative, of course, right? Because Microsoft owning this much, they could effectively shut down the ability to release any of these games on any other console other than Xbox. But I personally feel like that they're trying to use this as a way to expand their accessibility to the Game Pass, because consoles are loss leaders. They're releasing them at a loss so that people will buy those and then effectively buy software that is associated with them. I personally feel like Microsoft is trying to get out of the console market, especially since technology is almost plateaued. Like, we're almost at photorealistic graphics. That's going to be the plateau until something else happens. So I think Microsoft is recognizing this now, and they're trying to make efforts to get out of the console market and to get into the streaming market and be the Netflix of video games. Garbo, you being a PlayStation owner, and this extends to Corey as well, you guys being PlayStation owners, like there's been talks of like potentially like Starfield, for example, didn't get released to PlayStation consoles. What are your guys' feelings on this acquisition and what could potentially come from something like this?
Bravo.
I mean, honestly, don't understand the question.
So, like with Microsoft cornering the market here and pulling all of these properties and these franchises in, they have the ability to completely shut down like the releases.
Go bye-bye.
Yeah, on all
lot of games.
PlayStation.
From PlayStation.
Right.
Okay.
They've already pulled Bethesda
Skyrim.
games. Yeah.
Whoa.
Like Starfield only released on Xbox and PC.
Yeah.
I think what they're going to do is they're either going to force PlayStation to do something similar with any IP they could snatch up, or force it to allow Game Pass to be played on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Which honestly isn't a bad thing to do. I think if PlayStation could make a decent deal with Xbox, they both stand to make a lot of money here.
Well, they
Yeah,
bow out with the console. They're like, look, we won't make another console.
Mm-hmm.
You can have that.
But
I
you
just
need
don't see
our
Microsoft-
games.
Because look,
I
dude,
just-
I ain't trying to pay $70 to play that multiplayer, but I might pay 10 for that Game Pass to play it.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, yeah.
Exactly. So, go ahead, Garbo.
I just said I don't think Microsoft would be trying to like take games away, but I mean I get what y'all were saying.
Oh, they're going to strong arm.
They-
I mean they got their own exclusives already that make them like where they are, and they're more willing to make deals than Sony. If anybody
For
would be
sure.
the one that's like, you know, in that mindset, it would be Sony.
Oh, they're going to hold out.
Yeah.
But they can't
But-
lose COD.
Oh
Yeah.
no, and they won't. Look, if it comes down to that, that's when they'll bend the knee.
That's what happened. The same thing like with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll work with you. I mean,
Yeah. Well, I mean, and this is kind of at a very interesting time period too here, because like they've told Sony we'll release COD on Sony consoles for 10 years. I would say that the lifespan of the new generation consoles that released is around 8 to 10 years.
Mhm.
That gives Microsoft 8 to 10 years to work with Sony to try to iron out some type of a deal, because we saw during all of the stuff that was released during all of this debacle with the courts and everything, that Microsoft is looking at pulling in things that people would not normally play games on as ways to allow people to play games on. So they want to make like a Fire Stick thing that Microsoft puts out for streaming games and also streaming TV, movies, things like that. They're also looking at maybe making another version of the current generation Xbox with a couple of hardware upgrades, but nothing super fancy. They're also looking at making possibly a tablet or something like that that has a little bit of a larger screen for like a mobile gaming experience, more
Like a
akin to
handheld.
something akin to the Switch. So I don't think that Microsoft wants to spend money on developing consoles anymore.
I think you're right.
And this, I mean, a lot of people see this as a negative, but me as an unbiased person, I see this as a win-win-win, because if I can pay $10 a month and have access to all of these games at my fingertips whenever I want them, and then also have the ability to possibly play some Nintendo properties in the future or some Sony properties in the future, why would I not do that?
I would love that, man, to be able to play some Mario games.
Yeah. Imagine
Yeah,
playing the
but-
new Zelda game on PlayStation.
Yeah.
I would just like to play the old Zelda someplace.
Sony's in the knee.
Here's my question. This is to everybody here. In response to this, I know that Sony has already snatched up a couple of gaming studios in response to Microsoft acquiring Activision Blizzard. Do you think that they are going to try to make something competitive with what Microsoft already has access to. So do you think that they're going to try to develop their own version of COD, their own version of Elder Scrolls, their own version of Fallout? Like, do you feel that they're going to try to do that before coming to the table? Or do you think that they see the writing on the wall and they're like, hey man, we can get in good now and make some deals start to happen?
They're not going to be COD or Elder Scrolls or.
Yeah, I think if they're smart, they're going to just, they're going to be like, yeah, let's do this, because
we'll work with you.
Sony tried to do their own version of Halo back in the day, Killzone,
Yeah,
and it didn't go very well.
Yeah.
I mean, they tried to do their own version of Discord too, so.
And did it go very well? No.
I think Sony is going to bank on continuing to release consoles, and I think that we're finally getting to that point now where the next console generation that's released is probably going to be the last console generation that's going to be released for quite a while. Like, technology has progressed so far in the last 10 years, but we're almost at that capstone, unless something crazy comes out. Photorealistic graphics and having access to photorealistic graphics on anything that you're playing on is the final step.
Epic has that.
Exactly.
So
we're getting there. I don't see this as a negative. Like I said, I know a lot of people do, and I know that a lot of like Sony users missed out on Starfield, and a lot of those people want to play it. And I do feel that at some point they will bring it over. Once the hype for Starfield starts to die off, they'll bring it over to PlayStation so that they can get a second wind out of it. That, of course, business, that makes sense. But like, I don't think that Microsoft is intentionally cornering the market to withhold players from having access, especially when Sony owns single-handedly 50% of the market.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you think about it too, man, like, they're going to win the console war.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
They got it.
Yeah.
Like, it's a better Blu-ray player. Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks better.
Yeah. I think
that's why Xbox did what they did, because they know Sony was winning that.
Yeah. I think that in 10 years, we're going to have the PlayStation, whatever is going to be, is basically going to be a gaming PC. You're going to have the crazy random Nintendo console that's released that has all of those first-party Nintendo games. And then everybody is going to be playing cross-play, cross-progression, the whole 9 yards on one, possibly two different game streaming services.
Yep.
Well, you could play it on a phone because it's going to run off the servers.
Exactly.
So you don't need much.
Yeah.
It's really going to help them. Like,
yeah, overall it is.
There'll be a Raspberry Pi in there.
Yeah.
That they sell for $700,
Right.
I mean, yeah.
And it's wild how we've seen this attempted in the past with not Activision, but Amazon doing their version of it. Google tried to do their version of it, and they just didn't have the oomph. They didn't have the backbone that they needed to do something like that. Whereas Microsoft has the servers, Microsoft has the technology, Microsoft has the games. They have everything that you need. If I could go to Walmart and spend $60 or $70 on a 1 month trial to Game Pass, a controller, and a stick that plugs into my HDMI port,
a Fire Stick.
If I'm on vacation, I would sacrifice $60 to be able to do that and play whatever I want to play.
Yeah.
I think that in the future, the PlayStation is going to have keyboard and mouse support with this stuff.
Yes.
Because there's some games you're just going to need it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it'd be stupid for them to not do it.
Yeah,
absolutely. So yeah, I think overall, like, a lot of people view this as a negative. I think that this is going to push the industry forward at the end of the day. And it unfortunately causes, people to respond to these situations, and it causes people to buy up large properties to be able to push because let's face it, the gaming sphere has been stagnant for the past 5 years.
Very.
So
snooze fest.
Yes. So this is going to push everything forward. This is going to push the market forward as a whole. And it makes me excited as a consumer that doesn't have a bias here. It makes me excited for the future.
I don't want to have to drop $2,000 on a gaming computer when I can buy a console.
Yeah.
That'll do all
$400.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Or a fucking Switch.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean,
Dock it.
that's
You're
the
in.
dream. Yeah.
Take it everywhere.
The world at your
Pair up
fingertips.
to play games.
iPad. You got a bigger screen. It won't be an iPad. It'll be a what's
Surface.
That's it. Surface Pro.
Yeah.
Great display.
But I mean, they could work something out with Apple too. Like, you know what I mean?
They might have to come to the table.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll see what, and you already have Netflix kind of dipping their toes because they have the game streaming stuff on Netflix as well. So they're kind of dipping their toes into it, but I don't know if they're going to have as much success as Sony or Microsoft. Yeah, for sure. So I see this as a huge dub all the way around. I know a lot of people aren't going to view it that way, but this is going to cause Sony to react in a massive way. And because of Sony's reaction, it's going to cause better properties to be released. And eventually it's going to possibly net it to where anybody can play anything they want, regardless of what they're playing on. It's going to come down to controller choice for real at that point.
I mean, their hands are tied. Sony's going to have to make the next
My hands
move.
are tied.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we'll see how this shakes out. But as of right now, don't see a negative. And like I said, Microsoft has put them in a position to where if they really wanted to strong arm Sony, they could. And that because when Starfield released, sales for the current generation Xbox went up over 1,000%.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That should scare Sony by itself. Imagine if the Elder Scrolls releases and it's not on a Sony console.
Because they gave them COD, but they haven't promised them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's some fine print where they could take that back if they want to. They could be like, oh, wait a minute. We've changed our mind.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
But they're being nice.
They're being smart.
Yeah.
You gotta do it nice.
No, dude. They know they're gonna make some
Hey,
money
we're
off
calling
of
you a
it.
bone.
Yeah.
Still play Call of Duty
Call of Booty.
for 10 years.
Yeah. But after that, didn't say the magic word. But yeah, we'll see how this shakes out. All right, I stopped that recording. So that brings us to the end, everybody. That was all the information. So, thoughts, opinions, thumbs up, thumbs down, first episode. I think it went pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
I enjoyed it quite a
We'll
bit.
Talk about other games
Yeah, exactly, right. And speculate on stuff,
that have Switch support.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. So, but yeah, for this episode of Foreplay, I'm here with Co Reed.
I'm here with Dirt Lord.
I'm here with Garbo.
And I'm here with Griffin.
And thank you guys so much for listening. I'm still going to keep it. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you guys so much for watching. And we will catch you guys on the next episode. Have a good one, guys.
Peace.
Can't live without.
New kid back on the block with a rip.
In the back.
With a drip. Come on, get a set.
Thank you, Tally. I very much appreciate that.
We'll talk about Tally.
And overall, I mean, that wasn't too shabby here. So we got 1, 2. So I mean, it was about altogether 3 gigs, hour and 26 minutes.
Not bad.
How many segments you get out of that?
5.
I mean, come on.
I mean, that's pretty good, right?
It's the latest and the greatest, too.
Love the variety of topics. I mean, I to be able to talk about all the stuff that we already talk about, but in like a streamlined format it feels good. It feels really good. It's so good.
More.
Yeah, right. Yeah, for real. Because there's more, like everybody has different thoughts on it, which is great. Like that's because we all kind of felt the same way about Rogue, you know, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but with this, it's like, bro, Garbo, what'd you think of the finals? And you're like, this fucking wheel, man.
Dude, the wheel is like the thing. Like that's
I
the
kept
thing to
waiting
master.
to see that. I was in there like, where's this wheel? And then I'm like, when you were talking about it, I'm like, oh, okay. Because
Yeah.
Again,
but you said you have to memorize where everything's on the wheel. So do we.
Yeah.
I can't look down because, dude,
Yeah,
I
but
look down. I've got all these keys
you're
here.
Right.
I mean, and
what I mean-
it's not a
but it's
normal
all-
layout.
it-
like everything was E.
It's
Normally
all
it's
one
F.
thing. Yeah, that's
Normally-
what I mean. Like I have to press L1
Yeah.
to open it, and then I have to use my right analog
It
stick, which
just
is
swing
actually
yep.
which is my sensitivity stick to make me look around.
Just
And I
use
have
your
to
young
pi- I have
hands
to-
to do that. Mine can't do that.
Young hands.
I feel like, what's happening? Where are you going, Griffin? I'm trying to follow him. He's like, I'm going there.
Because
Dude.
I'm the youngest, it means I got young hands.
You can't say
Everybody
you can't say
does.
he's
To
got-
me.
That boy he just broke 30, Dirt.
Oh,
He's 30 years old now.
are you 30?
I am.
How's that
You don't
feel?
like hearing that.
I ain't.
I thought
approved
you were
yet.
27.
Yeah, for real,
He
right?
was-
What
I
happened?
He was
Y'all
Y'all lied to us. I
When
heard
met
27.
y'all-
I was like, oh, okay. I mean, it's 30 ain't shit.
I mean, I also said I
Feel the
was
same.
12.
Right?
So
You feel the same.
I mean, I do.
Dude,
I haven't got out of bed, and be like,
it's coming.
Oh, it's coming, yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be long, buddy.
You ain't keeping that or that hair.
Oh, wait a minute, bro. No, I ain't losing
No,
my
you
hair.
will.
I got a full head of hair,
Me
and my
too.
dad
I had
still
it,
has
man.
a
It was
full
there.
head.
I
Oh.
still do. It's just you're gonna
You-
start to see. You can't see the top.
My
of it.
dad is 50 years old, and he still has a full head.
It
of
comes
hair.
from.
It comes from your
mother's
mom's
side. of
side.
the
Yeah.
family. Yep.
Yeah.
There we go.
Well, my mom wasn't bald either, though.
It doesn't matter.
Well, it comes from your mom's father.
Yeah.
He was an Indian. He was a full-fledged Indian. So
You
he's
might-
hair-
I mean, let's.
I'm
That's why you
freaking
can't
out
grow a
now.
beard, right?
That is exactly why I can't
Yeah,
grow a
me
beard.
too.
He was like 90% Indian, dude.
Indians.
What What tribe?
Cherokee.
Oh, nice.
I had
See the
Cherokee
Cherokee
and
Creek down
Creek.
here.
AKA Blackfoot.
So, do you have a card?
No,
I do.
Okay.
You can
I
get
did
one.
that in school.
I probably could. I just never
It's not
done all
hard.
that.
The tribe was. It's in Gadsden.
Wow,
The
I
chief,
mean, that's where I was.
Back
that's where I
then was a
born.
lady. You had to go down there, you fill out the paper and put your family tree, and they're all looking at it like, okay. I mean, how do they know? Because I'm gonna tell you, dude, when you do the genealogy, it ain't picking none of that shit up. Like,
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
It didn't say that I was any Native American.
No,
Mimo
dude, it
swears
ain't
to
in there.
God. Mimo swears that her dad was half Cherokee.
yeah, dude, my great grandfather on my father's side was full blooded Indian, hook nose. You know,
Yeah, he looked Indian as fuck. I know that. My great
long
grandfather
hair.
did.
You
My
giving your
grandfather was a-
DNA to reptilian
black
He was
elite?
hair.
straight
like-
red. You could see him. He was a
I
red
gave my
man.
DNA up. They'll be able to clone me later.
Legit. Once they figure it out, huh?
All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end it there. But thanks everybody for coming and hanging out with us, and hope everybody enjoyed the pod. It was a good time. What?
I said I did.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you
I was
said
fixing-
you did, and I was
Yeah,
like,
I thought you said that.
Like,
I said I did.
let's do it out of here.
Let me
Tally
just yell.
Tally
I
gonna clone you.
did. All right, there we go.
There we go. That'll work.
You can calm down now.
You're louder than I am.
All right, I'll be live tomorrow at some point, Tally. I'm going to do some more prey
He's
action.
already clipping his nails.
I am. They're getting on my nerves. I broke a nail. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good night, Tally. Take it easy. See you guys.